Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at VECHAIN. The last time that we looked at this, we were actually within this position here and we were talking about this additional fourth and a fifth, and it actually played out quite nicely. We came down into this lower range here with a diagonal and basically completed off into the box area that we were talking about, and then we started to move away. So we're going to be talking about what we think this move is and where we see it going. But before we jump into that, I'd just like to say thank you for watching the video. If you enjoy, please smash that subscribe button, hit that like button if you haven't already, and leave us some feedback down below. Let us know if you actually managed to catch any of these moves that we called out here, and if you managed to take a trade from here down to this fifth wave, or whether you managed to accumulate some within this fifth wave zone. So there's a few things we wanted to talk about. There's a couple of options here that we need to discuss. And basically, if I just switch back out here to the 4-hourly, and we talk about this move from further back here. I'm going to turn this off and we're going to talk about, this is what we were potentially looking for here, is the fact that we could have a bigger diagonal shape here where we get this as a basically a wave 1, 2, 3, and we're looking for this as a fourth and a fifth wave. So there is some things that we need to talk about here that basically, for this to qualify as an ending diagonal, this wave 4 would have to come back above this wave 1 low point. So that would mean a move back above this area here of this 21-22. So that would be sort of a target area that we'd be looking for with this as a fourth wave if it's going to become a diagonal. So that's where we would be wanting to sort of head up to and cross that wave 1. Until we do, however, there is still potential that it could develop in something else. So we were also talking about the potential of this being a smaller diagonal where we have this as a 1, this is a 2. We're looking at this breaking this move up into 2 and calling the first part a 5-wave move and the second part a diagonal. And then potentially looking at this as within a fifth wave of a ending diagonal. And what we'd be looking for within this is effectively to form an A, a B, and a C to the downside. So within this structure, what we'd be looking for is the potential that we would be looking to form this B wave now. So this would be valid. This option is valid until we cross above this 1964. If we cross back above this zone, then it's unlikely, well, then it's invalid that this option is actually playing out and we have one of the other options to look for. But for as long as we stay below this zone, it is possible we could still see this push down in another 5-wave move for this C wave, and that could look to complete this as a smaller diagonal shape. So we just got to give it some time and see how these moves react. We're going to talk about the micro movements within this shortly, but basically what we'd be looking for here is we've actually, with this move currently, we've actually come back. Let's go from the low point. Actually, I think that is actually our A wave low. So we've already come up here into the 702 range. The 786 is sort of the next target area if we're looking for rejection, but we could actually look to start to break down from here. So if this is the case, what we'd be looking for is this is a B wave high, and then potentially at a 1-to-1, we could look to travel down towards this. Let me get it on there. So at a 1-to-1, we could look to potentially travel down to this 1426 zone as another 5-wave move. And what we'd be looking for then is potentially to form a 1, 2, down in a 3, 4, and a 5, and then that could potentially look to complete this move. Though we would have to wait for further sort of evidence that we were correct with that analysis, because as long as we are below and we don't cross that wave 1 low, effectively we can still just have a bigger 5-wave move here. And if I just come back out just slightly, turn this on. We could also just look at this as a bigger 5-wave move where this is a 1, 2, and then we're actually still within this third wave and we're just getting some extensions within this. So we need to be careful, because if we move down towards this 1335 zone, it would actually indicate to me that we have deeper to come here, and that what we'd be looking for is this 1335 as a typical third wave move. If we do move down past this zone, then we'd be expecting an additional fourth and a fifth. And then effectively we'd be looking for another fourth potentially. We would have to see how it plays out. This fourth and fifth could get invalidated, but we'll have to see how this plays out exactly. So within these smaller moves now, we're going to be talking about this from this point here. So from this low point, we've started to move away now. So we've talked about the possibility of being able to being rejected and then breaking down from here with a 5-wave move. And the way that we would have to look at that is, I am currently looking at this because of the fact that this move has come up here and we've moved past this 1.618. I am expecting that we're going to have a 5-wave move here like this, where this is a 3rd wave, we break down for a 4th, and we get a 5th wave to the upside. So the thing with this is, effectively, we've already come down into sort of that maximum zone that we would be looking to travel. It's come down all the way. No, it hasn't actually, so not in this option. I'm thinking of the other option. So it is possible we could see another drop here towards this 1696 zone. But what we wouldn't want to do is drop past this this high point here, which is this 1671. Moving past 1671 would actually invalidate this this 5th wave to the upside, and then we would have to just look at this structure as a ABC. So even though we've hit this 1.618, we need to just wait for that confirmation on that 4th wave, because sometimes what we can get is we can just get an extension within the C wave where we get a stronger C wave here, and then actually we come back and break below this low without forming a 4th, and then it's actually just been a zigzag pattern to the upside. So we just need to be aware that that can play out. However, I do think, like I said, that we're going to be looking for that as a 5-wave move. So there's 2 ways of looking at this. We can look at this either in this way, where this is a 1, 2, 3. We're looking for a 4 and a 5. So like I said, if we are looking at it within this 5-wave move, as we have shown here, what we'd be looking for is potentially this as an A wave. This is an A wave, looking for this as a B wave, and looking to break down again for that C wave to the downside. And that could potentially look to target out this area that we're talking about. Basically, this 1695 is as low as I'd want it to go. It can wick through this slightly, but I wouldn't really want it. Well, if it reaches the 0.618, it would invalidate. So this is the one way we could look at it. And if we talk about this coming down to this 50%, though, it's already come down to this 382. So it is possible if I come down on your smaller time frames. We can also count this potentially as a expanding flat, where this is an A, B, and a C to the downside, and actually this wave ends a little bit earlier. So if that is the case, it would be possible that we actually have a 4th wave completed here, and we're going to look to push straight up. If we look to push straight up here, effectively what the target zone would be is this this 1851 to this 1895, and that would be this little zone within here. So I'm just going to mark that up because we're going to reference it out again in a second. So if that's the case, we'd be looking for a move up here in this 5-wave move into these highs, and then that would be a completed move. So from there, what we would be looking for is the potential that we have this as a, look for a B retracement, and then look for that C wave to the upside. It is also potential that we could look to break to the upside in a 3rd wave, but basically until we get that confirmation, we'd have to just assume that it's an ABC. And what we'd be looking for is that this would have been a 5-wave move. We'd be looking for a 3-wave retracement, and then we'd be looking for another 5-wave move up in this zone here, where that would become a bigger zigzag pattern. So that's a 5-3-5 pattern. Within this, if we do move up into that green box area, basically what we'd be looking for as a retracement would be coming back down to the 1694 to this 1600 area. This would be a typical B wave retracement, and this 618 sort of comes into the range of these previous tops here, though 50% is also within that sort of area. So it could look to push down into this area if that does play out. So that's if we're looking at this 5-wave move like this. There is also potential that we could adjust this slightly, and that we could still be within this 3rd wave. And what we'd be looking at there is the fact that because if we can count this as a 5-wave move into this high, but it is neater to count it like this, where this is a 1, 2, and then effectively this is all a 3. So the reason I prefer doing it this way is because then this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4. So this 4 and this 2 are quite similar in size. We don't have anything that's similar in size to this wave 2 yet, except if we look at this move that's developing here. If we look at this move that's developing here, whether we want to look at it as a potential flat into there, or we could be looking at a deeper zigzag move, basically this could be a 4th wave, and we look to push up for that 5th wave. What we'd be looking for is effectively from here looking to push up into this green box area that we're talking about, which is the 1895 to the 1851 zone. From there, we would have to keep an eye out on this previous fourth wave area, as well as looking for this zone of retracement, which would be that 382 would bring us right in there, and that 50% would be towards the bottom. So this could be a little sweet spot if we do look to push up here and then look to push back down, and then would be looking to push higher with this fifth wave again. And that target area, depending exactly on where this lands, this is obviously very rough. We could look to push up towards this 119.63 to this 1901 zone. So this could be a little zone that we look to target out if we are looking for a bigger 5-wave move here. However, like we were talking about earlier, there is some 5-wave structure here, so we'd have to be careful we don't start to break down. Because if we come right in on this, we can count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that could be an A, B, C, and that is just a expanding flat correction within this area. Or alternatively, we can look at this as an A from here. This is a B wave and then a C wave to the downside. Moving past this high point here invalidates that, but until we do, it is possible we could look to break down. And if we're talking about breaking down here, we need to be aware of that area, which is off this high point, this 16-17 zone. Breaking down past this effectively could mean that we are starting that sell-off to the downside, and we would actually be looking to invalidate the potential for these bullish moves to the upside, and we'd have to reevaluate the count there, or look towards that smaller diagonal option and see how we react from there. My only concern with the way that this count is currently is the fact that if BTC and ETH do have a pullback like we were expecting, then effectively it would pull this much deeper, in my opinion, which would potentially look to make this a 1-2 situation and then look for a much deeper correction. Though we'll have to wait and see exactly how the moves play out, because it could just form a different structure along the way, and with a bit more information it might become more clear. But those are my preferred counts at the moment, and that's what I think is going on. We've got our little target zones, we've got our little areas we think that we can find support and look to push to. It all depends what happens from here. If we break down and we cross these high points, like if we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, effectively we can't come down and we can't cross this area here, which is this 1654. Crossing this 1654 would invalidate this 5-wave move here, and then, like I said, we'd have to look at this as a potential A, maybe come down for a B again, test that 50% to 618 zone, and then look to push back up for a C wave. Alternatively, this could just start to form 5-wave structure downwards, and then we'd be looking for that 1-to-1 we talked about earlier in the video to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. If you've got any questions about the stuff that I've said in the video, or whether you'd just like to comment on some coins, or how low you think this is going to go, whatever it is, drop it in the comment section down below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Really appreciate all you guys. We're almost at 300 subs. Really is great having you guys on this journey with us. Thank you very much. Okay, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care out there, everybody.